everyone, Linda Reed-Enever, and welcome to another Tips Tuesday session. This Tips Tuesday session is all about finding those images and using stock imagery or images when it comes to your marketing. And I'm really excited to share with you some tips today on how to search them and what we need to look at and consider when we're using imagery within our marketing. And I know that, we're sitting here and most of the people who follow this page will know that it's not just a matter of finding that image that looks amazing and sharing it. There's a little bit of consideration. There's some copyright laws, there's some limited use laws, and there's some little key tips that go along the way when we're starting to share our images from those areas. So what we're going to do is we're going to delve into today into what that's going to be about, and we're going to delve into all of that today. I'm just going to quickly share to the business group to let everyone know that we are ready for our Tips Tuesday, and we will get started. It's a busy week already, and for those of you who don't know, we're busy currently packing up the business life planners. We have the 2021 business life planners here with us in the office, ready to send out to you guys today. So that's pretty exciting. It's a big move ahead. Okay, let's delve into the world of images. So when we're looking at our images, we want to tell a story. So when we're looking at whether it's a blog post, whether it's an Instagram post, whatever we're looking for, when we're looking for our images, they need to tell a story. They need to invoke a connection. And it can do that in a number of ways, either by entertaining or grabbing some emotion or educating and inspiring. So there's lots of images that you will use throughout your business journey. Just think of your branded memes, think of your images that will go with your blog posts, think of infographics. There's lots of ways that we use imagery to tell a story. I know there's a good old saying that a picture tells 1,000 words, and that's definitely what we're wanting to do with our imagery when we're using it in our social media posts or our blog posts or our information. We want it to stand out. We want it to grab attention, and we want it to be something that our people are going to engage with so that they can feel like they've got a connection with that imagery that we've put together. So when we're looking for our images, our first goal is to find an image that's going to tell a story, invoke a connection, and either educate or inspire our people to click on that link, to click on the post, or to engage or comment along the way. So there's a couple of types of images and places that we can look for images, and I will come back and pop through a link, and I might even see if I can grab it now, pop a link through. There's a blog post on my website all about searching with images for stock image sites, all about how to find those imagery. So I've just popped the link into the chat there, so hopefully everyone can find it from there. So the thing about when we're looking at our images, there's different types of images in there. So there's stock images, and that's normally where you transcribe, you have a transaction, you pay someone to be able to buy an image. Now these come with limited uses, and there is different types of licenses that come under these stock images. So there's editorial use, there is commercial use, which means that you can use the image in a design or something and resell that on. That's something you can do. There is also the opportunities inside the stock images. There's all sorts of things, but there's lots of things about making sure that we go over the area. So yeah, there's limited usage rights, and you need to specify how you plan to use the stock image and the purpose. So if you purchase a stock image for an advertisement, you can't repurpose it then on any of your pages. So when you're looking at purchasing your stock images, you want to make sure that what license you've got. So how did you get it, and how are you going to use the image again and again? So some stock images go as far as how are you going to use it, not do you buy it and can you reuse it again and again. So be really careful when we're looking at our stock images, the license that's involved in buying our stock images. The other one is royalty-free images. So royalty-free images can be used. They don't particularly have a license. Well, they have a royalty-free license, which means you can jump in and use them. But what it does mean is these can't be resold. So you can't design it into something else and then sell that product onto someone else. So a royalty-free image is an image that has a limited use. They're less expensive, and you can usually use them on several different projects without having to shell out money, huge amounts of money. And they are also high quality, but they don't have don't have the same resale restrictions that stock photos have the resale restrictions. These guys don't have the same resale, but it does mean you'll probably find those images somewhere else on the web. So if you bought a stock image, for example, and you've bought it out, you're less and put more money, it comes down to everything. The more money you put behind the images, chances are you're less likely to see it on the web. But there's royalty-free images out there that you can use, and then there's stock images. And apologies for my hay fever brain confusing the two this morning and getting our explanations wrong. You got your limited use license, which is your stock image ones, which means you can't resell it, and then you've got your royalty-free ones, which have less limitations on those resale things. And I apologize, I needed to correct myself on that. The third type of images that we have and we use within our marketing is public domain images. And those public domain images are normally taken by you or a photographer, and you've been assigned the copyright to them, or they're in a public domain and they're open for general use, and they don't have any terms and conditions around resale around them. Once again, a public domain image, the best thing is if you've taken it or you've had a photographer take it and you owned it, you're less likely to see it appear somewhere else on the web or in someone else's social media graphics. So it's all about making sure that image is on brand, and that's the one that we want to do from there. And that doesn't tend to have a public domain image, as long as you have the license and the copyright, doesn't have any resale restrictions around it. But there are some things when we're working with photographers that we need to be very careful of. We need to be mindful that we are getting the permissions to use that imagery, and we're getting the permission, we've got the copyright when we're getting anything designed for us or anything like that. So the copyright of those images is actually handed over to you as the person organizing all of that. And if you don't do that, make sure that when you're looking at your photographer's terms that you go through that process and make sure that you've got at least a license for use. But I would prefer that you have copyright to all of your imagery that was taken for you, for your businesses. That's my personal opinion and personal preference through it. Okay, so if we are going to look at those list of sites that I've got on my website that I've just popped in a link in for you now, we're going to have a look at them and we're going to search. Search can be really overwhelming. We search and we go, oh, I'm not finding the image that I want. And we don't want to overwhelm ourselves with the search. So I'm going to give you a couple of tips today to finish off with on how to search for your images like a pro. Okay, so when it comes to search, it's about putting in the keywords. Now, in my case, I quite often are looking for white background or white desk office type situation. So you'll see in lots of my Linda Reed-Enever images, that's exactly what we're looking for. We're looking for that type of imagery. But, start with a single word. You might look for red coffee, or a single phrase, red coffee cup. And then you might put in red coffee cup on white desk, and either add or subtract words going through the area. When we're searching for our images and we start to look for our images, we need to consider where our text is going to go. Is there enough white space if we're going to put text on this image? Where is that text going to go? How are we going to use it? How's it going to crop down when it's really tiny and small? That's another thing when we're looking at our imagery. We want to make sure that the image is going to be small, be okay if it's really small when it comes down to those things. So when we're searching for our images, we need to also look at, is the image on brand? And this comes down to making sure that we've got a bit of an image style guide. We've got a bit of a vision board of how we want our images to look and feel. So if you have a look at the brands that we run across here at Enever Group, the Enever Consulting stuff is quite dark. Not the Enever Consulting, Clive Enever stuff. So Clive's is quite dark and it's quite moody. And that's the imagery style that we've taken with Clive's images. Now, we don't mean that all images we find are dark and moody. Well, quite often we're editing them and we're adding filters and those sorts of things to make them be what we want. In my brand in particular, it tends to be very black and white with a splash of red or a splash of color in there that I can add some text into, and that tends to be our things from there. So that's what our brand is. Work out whether you want to display people within your imagery. People are great. They create emotion. They create that automatic connection within your brand. So if you want to put people in there, make sure that it is. And have a couple of props. You'll see the little guys behind me. They're my product props. They're the people that will pop up in my props and my images and my photos along the way that make them a little bit more me throughout the journey. Guys, that's it. This Tips Tuesday was about a few tips to help you search for images. I hope they help. Hope you've understood the licenses, even though I mixed it up a little bit along the way. If you want to head to the Finding and Using Stock Images post on my website, there's a list full of stock imagery sites, including freemium and premium sites that you're able to jump into. And until next Tips Tuesday, I hope you have an amazing week. I'll see you around. Bye.